Hey guys, and welcome to or back to the Pause in Pursuit podcast with your host, Summer Clark. December, what is going on? How is it December already? This is scaring me. But that does mean that it is the very last monthly Q&A of the year, which means it is the end of year Q&A, technically. So today I'm going to be answering 15 of your guys' questions again. Had lots of super interesting end of year questions this month, so thank you all for sending those through on my Instagram story the other day. Things that I'm going to be talking about include answering questions about my goals for 2026, what my expectations are for Crufts, talking about my opinion on some recent rule changes within agility, and more. So without further ado, shall we get straight into the episode? So, question number 1, and this is my favourite question, hence why I put it first. What advent calendar do you have this year? I have and I will pronounce this wrong, Hotel Chocolat, I have no idea. That, really good chocolate, very posh. I have that and the dark chocolate advent calendar because anyone who knows me knows dark chocolate is my favourite kind of chocolate. Do not judge me. There's something about the bitterness mixed with the still slight tinge of sweet chocolateness that I'm just obsessed with, okay? And it's good for you, which is a bonus, but I actually genuinely do love the taste of it. So that is the advent calendar I have this year. Last year I had the massive Tony's one, which was good, but my love for dark chocolate has grown significantly over the past year. So I got that this year. And it's also very pretty. It's black and silver, so it's very aesthetic as well. You can put it in the kitchen. It doesn't look like, hello, I'm a massive, bright advent calendar. It's very aesthetic. Most people probably don't care about that. Anyway, question number 2. What are your 2026 goals? Okay, so I always say this every year. I do give myself goals, but just because of the type of person I am, I don't like to be overly strict on them because it just gets me into a right state. And I feel pressure to achieve them and stuff. So I like to set loose goals, okay, because I think it's important to set goals because it gives you something to work towards and something specific to base your efforts around, if that makes sense. But I like to be fairly loose personally, just because I know what I'm like. And I do feel the pressure and it does take away the fun. And it does give me a bit of anxiety if I'm too strict with my goals. So I'd say my goals, obviously, I would like to make Team GB again in 2026. However, and here's the realistic part, I also understand that once again, for the 3rd year in a row now, my prep is not great. And that is because of Arrow's shoulder injury followed by his castration. So realistically, we are not going to be running courses until start of January, okay, at the earliest. It is just what it is. Like I said, I'm not too worried because the past 2 years it has been exactly the same because of my injuries, and we've still made the team and done well done well enough obviously at tryouts to make the team. But once again this year, and I've had my 3 years now, okay? I've had my 3 years of not being able to prep for tryouts properly. That means things come in threes, right? So that means next year and every year after that will be fine, right? That's what I'm telling myself because it's ridiculous. But yeah, so again, expectations aren't massive for tryouts, but I'm hoping it's enough. So my goal is to do enough at tryouts to make the team. Obviously, making the team every year will be one of my yearly goals. But if it doesn't happen next year, then I understand why, and I'm not going to be depressed about it, if that makes sense. Or I'm going to try not to be depressed about it and too hard on myself because of what's happened over the winter. So obviously Arrow was out for 6 weeks with the shoulder injury, and then we decided to get him castrated because it needs doing, and it's still better to do it now than in the middle of next season, especially if we do end up making the team. I don't want to have to do it anywhere near EO or AWC if we were to get on. And also there's just a lot of things that, happen in the summer. So I was like, well, I don't want to leave it till then, and it has to happen at some point. I can't just ignore the issue. So we were like, right, well, he's not even started to properly build up yet. I think we'd done one week of build up and we were like, right, now's the time. So he's had the castration, that was a week ago, a week and 2 days ago. So this week he's back to his normal walks and I'm starting back up his physio exercises. Okay, so I'd say it'll be probably about, 5 probably 5 weeks till we're back to normal, because I'm going to start reintroducing him to agility probably next week or the week after. Little bits and bobs, very slowly. So yeah, it'll be early to mid-January by the time we're back to course running, probably more like mid, which only leaves us a month till the tryouts. Okay, so yes, that's a goal of mine, but I'm also being very realistic about the prep side of it and not having the prep that I wanted again. So it's on the goals list, but again, keeping that in the back of my mind. I would like another champ ticket at some point in 2026. That would be grand. So I'm going to pop that on the goals. But again, it's one of those things. It's not the end of the world if it doesn't happen, but it's something to work towards, because obviously seesaw is still my main priority, and I will be still training and holding that seesaw as I was doing last season, especially as the season gets going, to reintroduce, because we haven't been competing for ages. So just to get Arrow back into, this is what I have to do in the ring. So I won't be letting any seesaw slide. So champ ticket is on there, but again, we won ours with a held seesaw. It'll have to be that again next year. So we can only do our best, but if the couple of seconds of a held seesaw stops us from getting it, again, it's worth the sacrifice for me. So again, that's why I'm not being too strict with that, but it's on there. I would like to ideally qualify for singles at Crufts at some point with Arrow. That is on the goals, not necessarily next year, but it is there. So that is also something that I would like to happen during 2026. I would like to also qualify for Crufts ABC at some point as well. And again, singles and ABC, I just kind of want to do them at some point, not necessarily next year. So it's not really a 2026 goal. It's just a goal for me in my agility career kind of thing. I would also like to obviously compete at Olympia. I feel like I need to do that. I feel like I just have to do that at some point. Again, not necessarily 2026, but competing at Olympia is on my general goals. So it'd be great if it happened next year, but if not, again, I just want to do it at some point, because obviously we were meant to do it last year and we couldn't because of my foot. And that's pretty much it, I think. Obviously, yeah, I'm not even going to say anything about what we hope to achieve at the international events, because we haven't even made those yet, if that makes sense. So if I do get on Team GB again next year, then I can set goals for the actual events, but there is literally no point doing that yet. One thing at a time. So that's pretty much it as far as my agility goals. Business goals, I would obviously just like to keep growing my agility training business. I don't really have I have a few financial goals kind of in the back of my mind that I'd like to work towards, but again, not too much pressure on those, because I know businesses take a long time to build up. Often, in most cases, more than just a year. So again, not restricting those to 2026. I'm also not going to share exactly what financial goals I have, because I just think that's a bit weird. But I do have them. And yeah, I think agility in business, that's kind of my life, isn't it? So that's really my goals, to be honest. And like I said, I'm not going to go into detail about the business ones because they're mostly financial. But yeah, I think that's pretty much my 2026 or general goals that are in my mind right now. Question number 3. Will the new limit on how many graded classes you can enter in a day affect how you create your courses? For example, would a graded 2 to 4 course be different to a combined 2 to 4 course? Oh, sorry, just choking on my own saliva again. Right, so the funny thing is, I didn't actually even know this rule existed. It sounds really bad, but I don't have this problem as a competitor, because I'm grade 7, so I'm kind of just like, I usually enter just normal classes for training, if that makes sense, and just for the lols kind of thing. Like I'll do graded jumping, normal jumping classes just for ring experience, and obviously the graded agility classes or combined agility classes, whatever, for seesaw trading kind of thing. So I don't pay too much attention about that, because it's not like I'm trying to win up through those classes. So I didn't actually know that this rule existed. It's terrible, because I should know everything about agility and what's going on in the agility world, but I evidently don't, because I did not hear about this. I guess it's good because it means I haven't been chronically on social media, but I haven't seen this anywhere. And I swear I have been chronically on social media, so I don't know how I've missed this. But a limit on how many graded classes you can enter in a day. So this is not going to affect my courses and how I create them as a judge, because all I do is when I judge at a show, the show organiser sends me a list of classes that I will be judging that day. And I create the courses for them. And often that does include more than one class that is the same grade. So for example, I might have two, like at Inspire the other week, I was doing jumping and I had a 4 to 6, a 5 to 7, and a 1 to 3, and then another 1 to 3. So I had 2 different 1 to 3 classes. Okay. The courses are the same for each of those 1 to 3 classes. Okay, the course always has to be the same for each individual class. If it's a different class, so it's got a different class number, even if they're both graded 1 to 3, they're still 2 separate classes, therefore the course has to be different for each of them. And as far as would a graded 2 to 4 course be different to a combined 2 to 4 course, even before this new rule change that I've just heard of, that would be the case. The course will always be different per class. So yes, a graded 2 to 4 course would be different to the combined 2 to 4 course, but not in the sense of how difficult it is. Because they're both grades 2 to 4, no matter whether they're graded or combined, I still have to design a course that is suitable for grades 2, 3, and 4, okay? But the courses still have to be different, so they have to have a different layout. It can't be the same course. I have to at least change some of it, if that makes sense. But both courses will still be aimed towards dogs that are and handlers that are grade 2, 3, or 4. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So yeah, you learn something new every day, don't you? Because I didn't know about that. Question number 4. Do you see, another judging one, do you see the new course time matrix affect a lot of people's results when you judge? Again, this would only apply if I were to look at the results of the classes that I judged after them, which I sometimes do because I'm intrigued who beat who, especially if I've had like a few clears. I'm like, oh, I wonder which one won. So I do have a look. And honestly, through doing that, yes, I've seen more dogs with time faults, mainly in small, I must say, which must be a result of the new course time matrix because, the new course time matrix has meant that course times are essentially higher and dogs have to be faster. That is why everyone's been complaining about it, isn't it, essentially? So I've seen that happen mainly in small, yes. I don't know if I'd say a lot of people's results, probably not a lot, but it's definitely been there with a handful of dogs each time I judge and look at the results, especially in small. I do plan on doing a whole episode about the new course time matrix at some point. Whether I'm going to get a guest on for that or not, I'm not sure yet, but that is in the pipelines. I would like to do a whole episode focusing on the new course time matrix, like how it was made, the impact it's having, people's opinions, stuff like that, my opinions. So look out for that. But yeah, I think it's definitely had an impact on some people's results. Don't know about a lot, but mainly people in small. Okay. Question number 5. If you could change one rule in agility, what would it be and why? Oh, this is a great question. Imagine having that power. That'd be sick. It'd have to be distances, honestly. I think minimum distance should be 7 meters. Instead of 5, I just think, especially for large dogs, 5 is very short. But I understand that, well, I understand that ring size, we only have a certain amount of ring size at shows here in the UK. But to be honest, it shouldn't even make that much of a difference because as judges, we can then just use less obstacles, for example. But then, saying that, it may mean that some judges feel like they have to repeat more obstacles. So like do a jump 3 times or whatever, which some people think is problematic because what if the dog dismantles the jump or knocks it over the first go and then they have to navigate it another 2 times. So again, differing, I understand that point of view too. So it's a tricky one, but yeah, one rule in agility, I think that now courses are so much faster and dogs are faster, mainly. Dogs are so much faster these days, and speed is definitely pushed for more universally in agility. I think that the minimum distance between obstacles should go up. Even stuff like onto dog walks and stuff, I think the extra 2 meters would just give the dog a little bit more time to adjust and prepare for what's in front of it. And I feel like that would help dogs it basically help with safety, because, yeah, they should go up the dog walk, for example, with more, they can collect before it, they can prepare their bodies for it, they can assess the situation and deal with it. They have more time to think and act, basically. So I'd say that would be one. Because I think being 5 to 10 meters is just a lot of difference. So, a judge could set 5 meters between two obstacles and then 10 between the next two, or vice versa, which is quite hard for the dogs to figure out, if that makes sense, and hard for their bodies to adapt to. So yeah, I think 5 meter difference between minimum and maximum is too much. I think the minimum could go up to 7 and we would see improvement in every way. But there's probably more rules I'd actually change if I thought about it. But yeah, if I could change one rule, that'd have to be the top one. Question number 6. What is your GB tryout prep looking like? So funny enough, it's not, because of what I said at the start of this episode, with Arrow's shoulder niggle and then castration. So we're not really doing anything at the moment. To answer this question then, I guess, GB tryout prep. Nice one. GB tryout prep is looking like building Arrow back up to fitness after having significant time off. At the moment, that is all that we're doing right now. And we should have roughly a month of being back to full speed obviously I've got my field. So once we're back up to speed, start to mid-January, I will set up courses from judges for the tryouts, and we will run those. So again, but not too intensely, because we're still coming back from nothing for like 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks now. I'm not exactly sure without looking at the calendar, but it's been a while. Honestly, the last time we competed was AWC in mid-September, October, which is 3 months ago, which is crazy. Obviously, we've trained since then. But I think we haven't even trained for probably is 8 weeks now, which is crazy. But anyway, yeah, so GB tryout prep is literally just getting Arrow back up to fitness and easing back into running full courses, essentially. And then once we're there, back to running full courses, then I will be setting up those judges' courses that we'll see at tryouts. Not the courses we'll see at tryouts, because we don't know those, obviously, but getting courses from those judges, setting them up in my field and doing some running over them, but still not overdoing it, because like I said, we've not been doing a lot. I feel like I just repeat myself in that question, but yeah, that is pretty much it. Obviously focus on fitness. So Arrow's fitness, getting back through strength and conditioning exercises, and then just building back up slowly. So yeah, that is pretty much all we can do at the moment, and the plan going forward. It is what it is, but I just think it is my brand at this point to prevail in difficult circumstances, because it's happened for 3 years now. So I guess that's just us at the moment. Hopefully that'll change after this year, because like I said, it is the 3rd year of this happening. But yeah, I'm not too concerned, because it has happened the last 2 years and we've still gone on to have really successful years and been on the team and stuff like that. So, it happened in 2024, went on to win Crufts in March and get on Team GB. Then obviously it's happened 2025 and it happened, yeah. So it happened winter 2023. Then we went on to win Crufts March 2024. And then it happened in winter 2024. And we went on to obviously make team this year and win a bronze medal. So I'm not too concerned, because we can prevail. The proof is there. But it's still annoying, isn't it? It is just life, and it happens to everyone, and just hopefully we've got our 3 years out the way. Question number 7. What expectations do you have of your first time competing in champ at Crufts? So yes, that is very exciting. I recently got the email yesterday morning, inviting Arrow and I to Crufts to compete in the championship, which is our first year doing so, because obviously our first champ ticket was won at Welsh KC this year, 2025, August. So yeah, I'm so excited. I don't know too much what to expect because we've never done it before. As far as, the feel of doing champ, having the 2 rounds in the one day, stuff like that. The only time we've been in the main arena before was obviously for YKC stuff. So I think we've been on 4 occasions. No, we've been in the main arena on 3 occasions. YKC Jumping Cup final 2 years, 2024 and 25. And then obviously Agility Dog of the Year final that we won in 2024. And I love it. I'm so obsessed with the main arena at Crufts. It's not as scary as you think it is. It is just so fun. So I'm excited to get back there. Expectations-wise, again, like I said at the start of the episode, because just general prep over the winter has been pretty much non-existent, I'm keeping my expectations low of kind of the start of the year. And March, again, is pretty soon after the winter. But I'll be happy when. I'll be happy just to compete and have Arrow back up to fitness, and be back to full fitness enough to compete full courses, basically. So that's what I'm looking forward to, pretty much. Expectations-wise, they're low because of the winter that we're having. But, yeah, again, I'd just like to get back out there in that main arena, Arrow be super confident, happy and fit, and me handle to the best of my ability, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, going clear and getting results would be amazing. But again, it's our first time doing this event, and I think you can't expect to do amazing on your first time doing something. I know it has happened to me before, like the Agility Dog of the Year final in 24, but you shouldn't expect that every single time, even if it has happened before, because in most cases, it is unlikely to happen on your first time, if that makes sense. Like the bronze medal we got at EO wasn't our first EO, wasn't our first time representing GB. That was in 24 and we didn't get results. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, keeping expectations for anything pretty much Jan, Feb, March, hopefully not into April, but the first 3 months of the year for sure, relatively low. But yeah, we'll just see, won't we? It is exciting though. Question number 8. What do you think has changed the most about agility since you started competing in 2013? This is a great question. I'm guessing this is off the back of the video I posted the other day of myself and Earl. So I was running Earl back in 2013 at Arena UK. I believe it was at Dog Vegas back in the day. The OGs will remember Dog Vegas, Arena UK, Oak Ridge Arena through the winter, Southern Racecourse in the summer. Where else was it held? It was held somewhere else as well, I can't remember. But yeah, that was pretty much the one show, that and Agility Nuts, that I did when I started competing. Dog Vegas and Agility Nuts. I only really stayed local. So yeah, the OGs will remember. People local-ish to me will know. But I'm pretty sure that was what that was. And it was so cool to watch because I didn't have a phone back then. My mum didn't have a phone back then. I don't even think she had a camera. Obviously, I didn't. I was like, 12? And yeah, I'd never got my runs filmed, obviously. So this was amazing to see. I didn't even know this lady had filmed. A lady that, funnily enough, I trained at my first Fun Agility Club. I was a student. She was also a student. That's how I knew her. And she was also at this show and she filmed my run. But didn't send it to me at the time, obviously, because she only sent it to me the other day. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I've never seen this before in my life, which was really cool. So thanks to her for doing that. But what's funny is this lady is now one of my students. So she now comes to me for training, which is a full circle moment. It is a proper full circle moment. She filmed that run of me when I was 12 and now I'm 24 and she's coming to me for training, which is insane. Like, it's just, life's funny, isn't it? But anyway, so yeah, that video is super cute. I was so small. Literally, Earl's a small dog, right? He was a small dog and he looked big next to me. That's how little I was. If you haven't watched that video, head over to my social media and you will see it if you scroll down. It is so cute. It's the way that I bend down after he's gone over the finish and grab him and then turn around and put my little hand up for the judge. Oh, it's adorable. And he always jumped medium. I didn't have a clue when I started about kennel club height, so we just jumped him on medium, and then he got his KC measure and he was small. So even when he was jumping small jumps, he would like essentially jump medium anyway, and it looked really funny. He was like a spring. He was a literal boingy spring. He's so cute. But yeah, and that was 2013. And if you watch that video, you will see that you will see the course, and you can probably decide for yourself what has changed the most about agility. For me, it's the courses and the speed that is required from our dogs. That is the thing that has changed the most from 2013 to now, in my opinion, is the courses and speed required due to those courses, essentially. Again, not just speed for dog, but speed for handler. Everything is more open and fast. Distances are generally bigger. I say generally because you always get courses are always different at different shows, different judges, but generally I'd say that is the biggest change. This course was there was literally pinwheels everywhere. I think it was literally one jump, turn right, jump, pinwheel back round to the second jump again as the fourth jump, and then a straight. And then there was a jump that was probably about 3 meters from the wall that the dogs just jumped straight over, landed near the wall, and then turned and went around, not even around the back, just over another jump position to the right of that jump. And then around that as a pinwheel again, I'm pretty sure, and then back down the ring. And there was only 6 weaves, which we don't see a lot anymore. And also the tunnel. Have a look at that tunnel. It was like straight. I think it looked like either 5 or 6 meters. It was straight with the 2 ends curved round in an L shape. No sandbags. None. I don't actually even know how it was tied down. I can't see. I think it might have been 2 bungees at the end. I don't know. But yeah, definitely courses, speed, and obviously with that comes things like changes in equipment regulations. So because of the speed, the increased speed and demand on the dogs, the tunnels now have to be fully sandbagged, and they cannot have that L shape because it's dangerous. Okay, dogs were going slower back then, so it wasn't quite seen as quite as dangerous. Whether it was or not, I don't know. But yeah, less speed was required of the dogs, so people didn't think about that kind of thing. But yeah, now tunnels obviously have to be fully sandbagged and curved nice and smoothly, or fully straight, so the dog has flow and doesn't, flow through them and doesn't hit themselves on one end. It can't L shape. So yeah, I'd say courses, speed required, and obviously equipment as well. Obviously Gallican is now a thing as well, so equipment's changed. So yeah, those 3 things, and they all kind of merge: courses, speed required, and equipment. And I think speed required comes first, therefore the courses and the equipment had to change as a result. So that is my answer to that question. Long-winded answer, but you know me. Question number 9. What is the best piece of advice that you have ever been given in agility, and who gave it to you? This is a really good question. Feeling quite nostalgic. So the fun agility club that I started at I started at that club when I was 8, just doing obedience with Earl, and then in a couple of years' time, when he was old enough, I started agility there as well. And the trainer there at the time, she was lovely, and she told me less is more, and that applies, I think, in life in general. Obviously, it applies in agility because overtraining is a thing, injuries are a thing, burnout mentally is a thing for both handler and dog. So I think less is more, and also quality over quantity goes hand in hand with that. Less is more. But I just remember her saying, Summer, less is more, because I was a little girl that was getting obsessed with this sport and I wanted to be doing it every second of every day. And she said that to me, and unfortunately it did not stick with me for too long, because as a person I'm kind of obsessive and like taking things to the extreme. Hence the stress fracture last year and all the injuries I've had. I am go and struggle to slow down and do less. I'm always trying to do more. But that is something I just have to keep telling myself in all aspects of life. I need to get it tattooed. I'm going to get it tattooed at some point so I can keep reminding myself, because it's the thing I struggle the most in life with, but it is the most important thing, I think, in my life, is the fact that less is more. And like I said, I think the best thing about this is that she said it in an agility kind of to relate to agility, but it relates in all aspects of life, doesn't it? It really, really does. So I'd say that is the most impactful and best piece of advice I've ever been given in agility, but it's also, transferred into general life as well. Not saying I'm great at following it, but I definitely should remember to always follow it. And that was my first ever agility instructor. Well, I started doing obedience, so just dog training instructor, essentially, when I was 8 years old. So what was that? 2010, which is 16 years ago. So yeah, insane. Question number 10. What is your favourite and least favourite thing about being an agility instructor? Okay. I'm going to start with least favourite thing because it's really obvious, and that is the bloody weather. For God's sake, it needs to stop pissing it down all the time and being freezing, all right? I know it's not going to happen, but it just winds me up. So yeah, least favourite thing about being an agility instructor is A, having to cancel when it's pissing it down. 2, when it's not pissing it down, but it's still absolutely freezing. And I have to teach. And even in loads of layers, I'm still freezing. I've always been a cold person. So that is my least favourite thing. My favourite thing has got to be seeing it click in a handler's mind and in a dog's mind. So seeing that partnership struggle with something, and then I coach them, and then I see that moment where it clicks and they just get it and they go, light bulb. And that's for the handler and the dog. That is by far my favourite thing about teaching agility, is those moments. Like, that is what it's all for, isn't it? That was quite a quick answer. They were quite obvious to me, but I do love it. And like I said, the cold and the cancelling and the potentially sometimes unstable income is worth it for those moments. Question 11. Is it too late in the winter season for me to retrain from a stop to a running dog walk? This is very individual depending on your goals for 2026. It basically, you have to weigh up. Would you rather take some time out from competing during the start of 2026 until that dog walk is fully trained? Or would you rather go through 2026 and do the whole season but with a stop dog walk? I can't answer that one for you. They're the two options. Because if you're going to retrain a stop to a running dog walk and train that running dog walk properly so that it's consistent, then I believe that you do have to step away from competing until it is sorted, because you don't want to be asking for a stop in competition while trying to completely eradicate that stop from your dog's mind. It will be so complicated for your dog if you're trying to get rid of that criteria, but then still asking your dog for it every weekend, if that makes sense, or even every other weekend. So for me, I think you do have to step away from competition till it's trained. Even if you're not retraining from a stop, just training a running dog walk in general, I think, you have to nail it in training before trying to generalise it to a competition setting, because it's so much different and you don't want your dog repeatedly failing it in competition. Because you don't want to poison that criteria. So in my opinion, it's never too late, but it does mean that if you want to do it properly, you probably will have to sacrifice some of the first part of 2026 competing wise. If you're not willing to do that, then how do you feel about doing 2026 until next winter with a stop? Those are your two options, in my opinion. If you want to get success out of this endeavour kind of thing. But it's very, very personal, and it depends on what you want to achieve in 2026 and when these things are as well. Question number 12. What are the best agility exercises to do indoors at home with limited space over winter? Indoors at home agility exercises. So first of all, strength and conditioning I always advocate for, but I would also say don't just do them willy-nilly. Don't copy other people's strength and conditioning exercises. You should go, and if your dog already has a physio, perfect, get them off them, because they know your dog and they felt your dog and stuff like that. If your dog doesn't have a physio, I would strongly suggest getting one and having regular checkups and treatments and appointments and massages for your dog, because like I said, Arrow sees a physio every month, and especially during the season, Arrow's physio will say, yep, his back's a bit tight, this is a bit tight, but it's okay. But it's okay because she can then release it. Whereas if she didn't release it and sort out that tension, that's when it potentially builds up into an injury, okay? So seeing a physio regularly is super important for our agility dogs, in my opinion. And they will be able to give you specific strength and conditioning exercises to work on your personal dog's weaknesses or maintain your personal dog's fitness. Every dog is structured differently and has different strengths and weaknesses physically. So definitely get those personalised and customised to your dog. Don't copy other people's. So that you can be doing those, obviously, over winter indoors. You can practice your tight turns indoors. So you can practice tight turns around a cone or a pole or anything that you can set up indoors. That is, I think, tight turns. You can really nail those foundations indoors. You can also train your contact criteria indoors. So if you have a stop dog walk, if you have a 2-on 2-off on your dog walk and seesaw, for example, you can practice that 2-on 2-off criteria on an object at home, so that getting on an object, back feet on the object, front feet off the object treat. You can also practice the nose target. So if your dog's criteria is to nose touch a target at the end of the contact, you can practice that at home in any scenario as long as you have the nose target and some treats. Then obviously you can combine that with the 2-on 2-off, and you can pop your dog on the object, back feet on, front feet off, and then ask for the nose target. And then if you have running contacts, you can obviously do your mat work indoors. And you don't need a huge space for this. You can just pop the mat down, put a manners minder a few feet away, and happy days. So yeah, tight turns and contact foundations, super, super easy to do indoors at home. And also, obviously, your strength and conditioning exercises tailored to your dog. I think, what else can you do? And again, it depends how much room you have indoors and in your house. Some people's living rooms might be big enough to fit a whole jump. And in that case, excellent, you can practice jump exercises. But even if not, you can practice, like I said, most people can fit a wing inside. So you can practice things like wing wraps and threadle wraps on cue. And like I said, if you can fit a jump in somewhere, excellent, because you can sit there and practice all your verbals, your jump verbals. So you can sit there, not give your dog any help physically, and say their cues, and they have to perform that behaviour on cue on the jump. So yeah, you can even do that on a wing. For example, a wing wrap versus a threadle wrap, stuff like that. So yeah, lots of jump skills stuff you can do, and wing stuff that you can do indoors. And I'd say that's pretty much it. You can train weave entries, to be honest. You can set up a weave entry and train weave entries too. Literally just the first two, you can do that. Obviously depends how you taught your dog the weaves. If you didn't do the 2x2 method, it might be a bit weird for your dog to do that. They might be like, what is this? But if your dog knows a set of weaves and you just want to practice weave entries, you can still do that. You can set up the 2 weaves and reward the entry from different angles. And I think that's pretty much all I can think of. But yeah, there's plenty to do indoors in the winter, and even when it's bad weather in the summer. Like, you can still keep up your training without asking your dog to run when it's wet and dangerous. Oh my god, I'm choking again. Okay, question 13. I don't understand this question. Someone said, why is Crufts more exciting than AWC? I don't think it is. I don't know. Did I give this impression? Maybe I gave that impression in my post. Thinking about it, in my post, I did use the word exciting 3 times. I put excited to get back out on the green carpet with my boy in the most exciting event. By the most exciting event, I didn't mean Crufts is the most exciting event. I meant Champ is the most exciting event at Crufts, in my opinion. Because obviously I've been in the main arena before, but I think the most exciting thing that happens at Crufts is the championship class. Therefore, to me, that is the most exciting event. Again, personal opinion. Don't come for me. They're all exciting, but I don't think Crufts is more exciting than AWC. In fact, I don't think anything is more exciting than AWC. It is, like I said back in my AWC debrief episode, AWC is something else entirely. It is an experience like no other agility event ever in the world, obviously. So Crufts isn't more exciting than AWC, in my opinion. Personally, I find AWC more exciting than Crufts. In my post, I meant the most exciting event at Crufts, as in champ. Not that Crufts is the most exciting event in the year, if that makes sense. So, sorry for the misunderstanding. Question 14. How do you continue to train and grow as a handler now that you are an instructor yourself? This is a really interesting question. So even though I am an instructor myself, does not mean, and I think this is potentially a common misconception in agility, does not mean that I don't go to other trainers anymore. I still, and obviously I haven't for a few months now because of Arrow's shoulder injury, but I still have my weekly training sessions with Lucy Norton, because just because I'm an instructor doesn't mean I know everything. I absolutely don't, especially considering I'm still fairly new to instructing myself. So I still go to other trainers. I also, something that I need to do is do more workshops with other trainers. I'm a bit lazy, struggle to find the time, sometimes think they're really expensive workshops, to go and do with Arrow, with trainers that venues and guest trainers and stuff. To the point where I've kind of forgotten that they even exist. So I do need to do more of those, definitely. But yeah, so still going to other trainers is the biggest thing. And then just doing agility itself, like competing in agility, doing different events, stuff like that, running under different judges. Naturally, I grow as a handler from doing that, like just exposure and experience. But yeah, no, definitely still going to other trainers is the main thing there. Otherwise, if you just only do your own thing, I feel like you can't grow. So training with other instructors is still super important for instructors themselves to do, because every instructor has a slightly different approach, and it's really good to get the opinion and methodology, that's a word, isn't it, of other trainers too. Okay, so it's just, the key is to not think I'm an instructor, I now can just train myself. You still want to be getting that input and feedback from other trainers, because they all have different views, different ways of doing stuff that you might not have even thought of yourself. So yeah, I'm never going to stop going to other trainers to train my dogs and myself, consequently. Last question then, question 15. Who were your major influences as you were developing as a handler and trainer? As a trainer, Lucy, 100%. I've been going to Lucy for years, and I've always aspired to be just like her and to be a trainer like her and a handler like her, and have her mindset and attitude towards agility and competing, and her relationship with her dog. So Lucy's been my biggest influence, probably as both a handler and trainer, actually. But aside from her, I think, as I was developing as a trainer and handler, there's so many. There is so many. There's so many people that I find super inspiring, especially these days. So a lot of people that live abroad, for example, Max Sprins, I had him on the podcast the other week. He inspires me so much. And his mindset and attitude towards everything agility and competing and stuff really influences and inspires me. And I aspire to adopt that same mindset. And there's just too many. That loads of people inspire me. I'd say, yeah, the main one is definitely Lucy, and she has been my most consistent inspiration and influence as a handler and trainer for the longest time, for sure. But more recently, especially as I do more international stuff, a lot of international handlers such as Max Sprints, Tobias Wust, both from Germany, loads of people like that truly inspire me with they're just beasts. Like, they're just incredible out there, and their attitude and, their approach to agility as a sport, and their mindset going out and competing and running multiple dogs and stuff, which is something I haven't had to do yet. So when I do have multiple dogs to run and compete with, I think those kind of handlers will be my, they'll influence me even more, because I'll be like, right, I want to be an amazing handler with multiple dogs now. So these people will be influencing me, and I'll be watching them and learning from them and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd say Lucy, obviously the main one. And like I said, my first ever agility instructor when I was 8 years old was the first influence on me, because like I said, she gave me the less is more advice. She was there for me. She introduced me essentially to dog training. So as I was first introduced to being an agility handler, she was my first influence, and she was also a trainer. So I started learning about being a trainer from the age of 8 years old, basically, through going to other trainers, including her, and then moving on to Lucy. So yeah, there's lots and lots of people as far as handling. But yeah, training mainly Lucy, and obviously my first ever trainer. So that is all of the questions, guys. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. I will now be taking a short break from the podcast over Christmas. So I'll be taking the next 4 weeks off the podcast, okay? I'm going to have a break over December, and then I'm going to come back on the 7th of January with the first episode of season 4, okay? Because again, less is more, burnout is real, and I just want to chill a little bit over the next month because it's Christmas. So I hope you don't miss me too much over the next 4 weeks, but like I said, I will be back in 5 weeks today. I will be back. Don't worry if you're listening to this on the Wednesday it comes out. And I have 2 really exciting guest recordings coming up in the next few weeks. I've got Christopher Enderson, who is an author and a coach for mindset around agility and handler performance. And then I will also be talking to Kirsty Jorgensen from Norway, couldn't get the words out there, nearly said Sweden, from Norway, who is small world champion at AWC. I've got that recording as well in the next few weeks. So we'll be coming back on the 7th with a catch-up from over Christmas and how things are going with me. So we'll do another monthly Q&A, first monthly Q&A of Jan. And then the next 2 weeks after that, we're going to have Christopher and Kirsty as guests, okay? So I'm telling you, I'm working behind the scenes over the next 4 weeks, and when we come back, the episodes are going to be off the charts. So please do send me your podcast topic, episode recommendations and requests, both for things you want me to talk about in solo episodes, and also guests that you want me to have on, and what you want me to talk about with those guests, and I can get working on those during the break. And then, yeah, I'll be coming back for season 4. It's actually crazy to me that we're in season 4. Honestly, I'm really proud of myself for keeping this podcast up for so many years. I know I had that I can't remember, couple of months off when I thought I was quitting the podcast because life was lifing a couple of years ago, but I came back because I enjoyed it so much, and we're still here to this day. So yeah, making sure that I can keep that consistency up long term by having these breaks between seasons. But yeah, keep sending me those recommendations, please, and I will work on those. Pretty much every recommendation or request I get, I do turn into an episode, guaranteed. So your podcast episode request will get made into an episode, and you will have it in your ears shortly. Also, if you have any further questions about today's episode, any of the points I raised or questions I answered, please do get in touch and send me a DM. If you just have any questions in general or want to chat, again, just send me a DM. I'm not that scary, I hope. My social media is at Pause in Pursuit or Summer Clark. Do give me a follow over on there, and that's where you can send me your DMs, and you can keep up with me and everything that's occurring in my life also over there. And what else do I say? Obviously, I'm an agility instructor, as we've discussed in this episode. I offer in-person agility training in Lincoln, postcode LN6. So if you would like either a one-to-one or to join one of my regular group classes, or a bit of both, a lot of people benefit from a bit of both, and I actually do recommend that. Please do, again, just get in touch and we can chat and fit you in, and we can have some in-person sessions. That would be amazing. Even if you just want a one-off, still, please do get in touch. I would love to help you guys, work with you guys, especially over the winter period where everyone's trying to work towards their goals and get the best out of their winter training for next season. I think that is everything I say. What else do I say in these outros? Oh yes, please do leave the podcast a 5-star rating or review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That would mean the absolute world to me. And make sure you're following the podcast so that you don't miss any of the episodes that I'll be posting in January, including those 2 really exciting guest episodes. You do not want to miss those. So if you're following the podcast, you'll be told and you'll be notified when those go live so you can give them a listen. So without further ado, because I've rambled for 50 minutes straight, I will speak to you guys on the, what did I say? 7th of January? Yeah. I will be in your ears again on Wednesday, the 7th of January at 8 p.m. And I'm going to go get cracking on working on season 4, basically. And I hope you all have a really nice Christmas and a great New Year's. And I will speak to you in January 2026, which is insane. But yeah, got to accept how fast time's going at the moment. Have a great one, guys. Bye.